Welcome back to this special edition of Caster Lay's Eagle Eye View. We're taking a closer look at the issues surrounding and especially some of the solutions being developed to combat the problems of environmental pollution here in Southern California. I'm Bianca Soleil.
And I'm Alvin Clavan. A little later, we're going to take a look at Superfund sites, especially a couple of them which are located very close to this campus. Also, what's being done to clean up our beaches.
But first, in 2002, the 6 major car companies in the U.S. were mandated by the California Air Resources Board to produce zero-emission vehicles on an ambitious timetable. The car companies, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Daimler Chrysler, GM, and Ford, collectively filed suit against the state of California, and their law was overturned. Thousands of battery-operated electric cars were destroyed. But with gasoline prices rising, interest in zero-emission vehicles has been growing. Eagle Eye View Peter Perongo has this report.
Global, a Norwegian automaker, is planning to sell low-price electric cars to the public and present its first models in the U.S. by the end of next year. Think Global is likely to be based in Southern California with its cars to be assembled locally. However, the average consumer wanting to inquire about zero-emission vehicles still wonders, what exactly is a zero-emission vehicle and how is that different from a low-emission vehicle?
A zero-emission vehicle is one that would truly have no air pollution emissions from the tailpipe or from any other part of the vehicle for that matter. So an electric vehicle is considered a zero-emission vehicle. So would a fuel cell vehicle be considered zero emission because its only emission is water vapor. Now a low emission vehicle has very, very low emissions. We're talking less than, considerably less than 1 gram of polluting emissions per mile driven.
Although technology for electric cars has been advancing and consumer interest has grown because of soaring gasoline prices, few vehicles have actually made it to the mass market. With most automakers focusing their attention on hybrid technology, only a handful, including Nissan and Mitsubishi, have announced plans to produce all-electric cars. Despite a gallon of gas emitting 20 pounds of polluting material, car makers are still hesitant to produce zero-emission vehicles.
This is a question that we get all the time, and the reason the car makers don't want to make these cars is 40% of the auto industry's profit comes from parts and service. And electric cars need virtually no parts or service. They just keep running. And so they're not as profitable as the internal combustion engine vehicles. And so the car industry is all about making money. That's like, I fully understand their position. I don't agree with it because what's good for Toyota and what's good for GM is not good for society. The vehicles that they create are poisoning our atmosphere. They use a non-renewable product that we have to buy from our enemies and we have to fight wars to get, and it's only going to get worse. So we have to switch from using oil to using domestic electricity.
With gasoline prices already reaching close to $4 a gallon, we may see the comeback of electric vehicles, which all but disappeared a few years ago. However, the lack of interest in zero-emission vehicles will only delay the process. It is up to the public to stop being a bystander and to start participating in maintaining the environment.
Great news is that we do, each one of us, everyone who drives a car, has the power to change this entire scenario. And it's exactly what Paul just said. Pick up the phone and say, I'm not going to buy a car until it has a plug on it. It's either fully electric or a plug-in hybrid. And if we don't do that, then each one of us is complicit in global warming, in supporting the war in Iraq. But you can make a change. And as a business person myself, I know I can't make a product that is not going to be sold. Okay, so we need to tell the car makers, they are business people, that I will buy your product when it's clean.
Zero-emission vehicles run about 60 to 80 cents a gallon when compared to regular cars. Think Global has begun to produce its electric EV with hopes to make at least 300 by the end of this year. Think City Chief Olaf Williams said the company will bring its test vehicles to the U.S. in the coming months. Reporting from Santa Monica, this is Peter Perongo for Eagle Eye View, Fever Planet.
Some critics have argued that using electric vehicles just shifts the pollution from individual cars to massive centralized power plants. Nonetheless, most scientists insist that even with the single point pollution that comes from power plants, electric vehicles would reduce auto-produced pollution by about 97%.